Hi, I'm Mark Lawson, president of ECS Publishing Group, and we are so very glad to be here today with Ruthie Foster. And I have a chance to introduce Ruthie to you. Many of you will already know her music, but some of you may not have experienced her music in the past. And we've released two new pieces that are songs of Ruthie's, and we thought it would be a good chance to get to know her better. Let me say a little bit about her. Ruthie has won numerous awards, but it's been nominated for Best Blues Album at least 3 times from the Grammys, and lives in Austin, Texas, and is just a wonderful performer who gets around all over the country. So welcome, Ruthie.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
So for those who might not be familiar with your music, talk about your personal story a little bit, about where you grew up and things, and then how you got into music.
I guess you could say I got into music through my church. I grew up with a lot of singers in the family. My grandmother had 5 brothers who sang all around in the central part of Texas at different churches. And they were, when they were together at my church, it was a big deal. The family would come out and hear them, just because, they were a wonder. So I grew up with that, being introduced to just my love for music, listening to them. And from there, I went on to blues. I went to study music in Waco here in Texas, and I studied opera and found myself singing Italian and French arias, and that was really good for me, getting a chance to really learn about the mechanics about how to sing, thinking I knew how to sing, but going to school to learn how to sing and how to control my breath and how to articulate. That was new and fresh for me. But yeah, I went on to sing in blues bands all across Texas. And then from there, I joined the Navy, and I was in a Navy band as a big band singer. And from there, I got out of the Navy and I was signed with Atlantic Records. And so I sang and actually wrote songs and lived in New York for a while. And eventually came back to Texas and to take care of my mother, and went back into choral music and singing in churches again. And also singing blues on the weekends. So yeah, a lot of music in my life. And
that's great.
Yeah, I've put out CDs since then.
Well, when I listen to your music, I just hear so many different influences, and that's probably reflected in that background. But for people who may not be familiar with your music, how would you characterize it? What do you feel like are your bigger influences?
It's a mix of gospel meets soul with a blues undertow. It's a little bit of everything. It's kind of rhythm and roots,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I sing, when I do my sets, I do everything from songs of freedom, spirituals, to Mississippi John Hurt, to soul music. I like to keep it mixed up. Even a little reggae once in a while too.
And that's one of the things about characterizing your albums for the Grammys. It's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? Which category do you actually fit in?
Yeah. I've been put into the blues category, but if you go to see any of my live shows, that makes it up pretty good.
Yeah. The 2 songs that we published that I want to talk about a little bit are, the first is Mama Said, and then the second is Travelin' Shoes, or Death Comes A-Knockin'. Talk a little about those pieces and how you came to those.
I found Travelin' Shoes, Death Came A-Knockin', I went on vacation to Charleston. I was stationed in Charleston while in the Navy, and had moved back to Texas, but I went back to Charleston for a vacation, and a friend of mine who was going to school there, the film school there at the College of Charleston, they were taking a journey retracing the steps of the freedom riders from the civil rights movement. And so they were taking a bus and going all through the South, and they wanted a singer, someone involved in the music that was a lot of the music that came from there, that era. And I happened to be there. So I hopped on the bus, and I ran into this woman who said that her grandmother sang this song and she wanted to share this song with me. And Traveling Shoes was it. And she was an actress, so she did the whole movement thing, and she,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and she sang in Gullah. She knew how to speak Gullah, which is this language that comes out of that area. And so Traveling Shoes was basically introduced to me on this bus while on this trek, learning about retracing the steps of the Freedom Riders.
That's very interesting. And that brings a whole understanding of that piece too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And I had never heard it at that point, but since then I've found out that the Golden Gate Quartet recorded a version of it. The Georgia Sea Island Singers have recorded a version of it. But I just thought, this is a song that needs to be heard. It needs to be sung. So it is a part of my sets every night. People ask for this song. I can't leave the stage without doing this particular song, you know. And when I do it, I try to give it the reverence and the grace that it deserves as, you know, an intro before going into the song. Basically dedicated to those that are here with us in spirit, because that's what the song says to me.
We'll talk about Mama Said a little bit.
Yeah, Mama Said is basically a story about coming home from music school and visiting with my mother, and her giving me her story, which is basically, the song says it in about 3 verses, what she, the wisdom that she was giving me, because she saw that I was so excited about learning music and going to school for music and what I'm gonna do. And when I get out of school, then she just, you know, she would bring me back to, you know, it's important that you give this gift away. It's important that you give this gift to somebody. And so that's what the song's basically about. It's just my mother's journey.
Yeah, and being a parent, it's interesting because you have those moments when you really want to convey these words of wisdom to your children. And I thought this captures that so incredibly well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was her story.
Well, thanks for taking time to talk with us. And I would encourage those of you watching to take a look at Ruthie's website, learn more about her. There's a lot of things on Spotify and Apple Music and all the rest. I hope that you will also take a look at these 2 songs that we've published by Paul Reardon, with arrangements by Paul Reardon, and take a look. I think you'll find them to be very interesting. So thank you, Ruthie, and good luck to you and in the days ahead.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate it.